So the ICT Innovation Center, it's a center that was launched with the support of COICA and RDB to help multimedia startups scale up their operations and raise funds for their companies so as to reach larger markets in Rwanda and outside Rwanda. So far the center helps startups they equip them with office spaces and help them to expand their teams, and help them as well as raising funds through e-pitches, meeting potential investors. At some point, they will help them to, through business trips. Most of the time they go to Korea to look at the ecosystem there, how it is growing, and do some study tours over there. So briefly, that's how the center operates. So it's on a cohort basis for a period of 1 year. One cohort takes 1 year, and then we recruit new startups. So far, we have more than 20 startups that have passed through the center, and now they are bigger companies now. I mean, you can look for a company that is called Zachu TV or AfriFame. So it's one of the biggest movie producer company in Rwanda so far. Of course, they are still local, but they are promising that they can expand, grow.
So the video was commissioned when?
I think, if I recall well, it was in 2018.
2018.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so now we know the story already because we had a brief call, but I want to have it on the record as well. Tell us about the ICT Chambers.
Yeah, so Rwanda ICT Chamber is a member-based organization that represents the interests of private tech companies that operates here in Rwanda. We help we help all startups, MSMEs, and corporate tech companies, and we offer them, our services are mainly categorized into 4 categories. We help them in advocacy, access to market, access to finance, and capacity building. And by advocacy, we mean analyzing or identifying challenges that they meet, which hinder their growth, and working together with relevant stakeholders to address those challenges so as to help the companies grow. And by capacity building, we most of the times we work with the companies, our members, to identify their skills gap, and we engage relevant experts or experts to upskill them and to help them put things together so as to grow their companies. And through access to finance and access to market, we mostly do business trips. We introduce them to potential investors locally or even internationally. We do business trips around the world, in Germany, in Japan, in African countries, in France. All those to help our members, tap into new markets, and as well as meeting potential business partners and investors.
So the ICT Chambers currently, how many members do you have? In terms of startups, established companies, how many registered?
We are glad that we are with our membership coordinator, so she can tell us about those numbers.
Okay.
In the ICT Chamber to onboard companies, we actually work closely with the Ministry of ICT. that helps us know more of the IT companies that we have in Rwanda. And the other organization we work with is RDB, where RDB registers every company that is registered in Rwanda. So from the RDB, we also have a list of companies that are ready to be onboarded on the ICT Chamber. And they also, the individuals and the companies actually reaches to us individually so that they can get services from the ICT Chamber. So we get different calls, emails from them requesting to join the ICT Chamber. So through those different channels, we can also get members from our emails and even on Instagram and Twitter that wants to actually join the ICT Chamber. So through those different channels, that's where we actually get few of them. And even on the internet, we do search for different companies that are opening up. So we go to them and we introduce them the services we have and the opportunities they can get from the ICT Chamber. Then from there, they get to join.
Wonderful, wonderful. I mean, I've always been a fan of working in collaboration. Nobody can work in isolation. There is bound to be no success. So, talking about the currently registered members in the ICT Chambers, can you give us a brief overview of how many people are currently registered?
So we currently have 327 active members of the ICT Chamber. So we differentiate them into association. And for now, we have about 9 associations for now. Yes, and according to what the company does, we associate them and we put them according to what they deliver to the market.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so yes, like I was saying, the government of Rwanda is very much interested into promoting cashless, and that policy itself says that there is a future of blockchain in Rwanda, but so far we've been slow in adopting some of the solutions in blockchain. We've tried to explore if cryptocurrency can work in Rwanda, but it's still under examination because at some point the central bank is not yet sure if that will not affect the either inflation rate in Rwanda or conflict with other existing policies within the country. And so there is a lot of research being conducted in that area to really be sure of what can be done and what kind of solutions can be allowed to be used in Rwanda in blockchain, and how they can be regulated, because the most crucial part or issue is how do we regulate, how do we set regulations that will enable smooth environment for people or tech companies to come up with innovative solutions in blockchain which will not conflict or hinder any other existing policies. Yeah.
Thank you so much. So,
Yes, talking about the companies that are already working out on the market, on the Rwandan market or in blockchain, we currently have one company which is Spain, but for the record, in the ICT Chamber, we also have students or else entrepreneurs that still have their ideas into developing those solutions in the market, but for now, they're still working with them, but they haven't yet turned them into products, so we're still helping them out so that anytime soon they can maybe launch their companies as well into that domain.
great, great.
Yeah, maybe before we even focus only on ICT, we can look at business in general, because Rwanda, you've been leading reports from World Bank. It is among the topest countries that enables or allow doing business locally. And so that enabling environment that was set by the government allows the evolution of innovation. So we encourage our young people, not just from Rwanda, but even foreigners, to come, innovate, test their ideas, and launch. So that enabling environment is what places us on that position to be the Silicon Valley of Africa.
Good.
Yeah.
So now, for the tech space generally, what is it currently looking like? When the developers community, how really engaged are they? How willing are they to learn? How willing are they to start working in the tech space? Briefly.
Well, of course, there is a huge focus on ICT sector, and by huge focus, I mean upskilling or equipping young people with skills, tech skills, so as to become the future entrepreneurs in ICT. And when they started, when we have people who are interested in doing business in ICT, in our case, Rwanda, most of them are young people. There are so many hubs, co-working space that help them to put together their ideas and to launch their startups. I mean, you've moved around Kigali, there are more than 5 accelerator and hubs that mainly focuses on tech companies, tech startups. Yeah, that is itself is a good sign that there is a huge support that is going to the ICT community, mostly on startups. But we also don't forget about the corporates or SMEs tech companies. There are a lot of policies that help them to run their business smoothly, and that I mean, of course, there is a lot that the government and the private sector is doing in that regard, but mainly we've made sure that there is smooth policies that allows everyone to operate coherently.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Stores around.
Yeah. They
Actually, the stores, you mean the supermarket or?
Yes, and shops.
It is. I don't think it's related.
Oh, you mean the other shops, the other shops? No.
It is not related.
It's ours. It's 250 startups together.
So, is there something behind 250?
Yes. Is there something behind 250?
Well, we wanted to, by 2025, to have created 250 startups that are investment ready. So far, we have 40 startups. So our target is 250 startups as a number, not
So
just
still have 210.
Yeah. And we will go beyond because we don't have any plan to stop anytime soon. So but that was the ambitious vision when we started the hub. Yeah.
For the FinTech Hub, can I get more details on that?
FinTech Hub is it's do more or less what the 250 startup is doing, except that they work with companies that have been on the market for quite some times, and they help them to. They only work with fintech companies only that have been on the market for quite some times, and of course the technical support or overall support that they give to those companies is different to what we give to startups. Most of these companies join the hub, the FinTech Hub, when they have a new project that they are working on, that they want to launch, or they join the hub just to be facilitated to navigate through the regulatory environment, because FinTech industry or ecosystem in Rwanda, it's heavily regulated by either the central bank or even the other ICT government institutions. Yeah, so we help them to navigate that environment and to scale up their operation outside Rwanda. Yeah.